Just a little bit of eeny meeny miny about there, picking the copyright free shit music. My god, that's bad. This stream is going to be a fucking disaster. Let me just put that out there. A disaster. Well, hello and welcome to this Tuesday's Entertainment News. I am Jonathan C. Walsh here to discuss the world of entertainment. Well, at least the world which grabs my attention. There will be another world of entertainment news out there which may perhaps grab the attentions, the sort of wonders of another individual. But this is the stuff that has grabbed my attention today. I am doing a corner stream. I look like Jeffrey fucking Dahmer with less hair. And it's not a very good setup. I've not done a corner stream in quite some time. Usually do a little close-up just over there. I decided to do a corner stream today and it's not got off to a good start. To add to the insult of everything else that is wrong about this stream already, my phone has fucking died. I control the stream through my phone. So everything has been done manually today. But that's neither here nor there. I'm here to discuss Avatar: The Way of Water, its box office success to date. And my, it has been a very successful film indeed for James Cameron. Already, 5 weeks out? Well within the top 10 all-time grossing at the box office, worldwide, of course. Doing very well domestically in the States. Doing very well domestically here in the United Kingdom. Seemingly doing very well everywhere. This movie. And by all accounts, following the behaviour in terms of legginess at the box office of previous James Cameron movies in Titanic and the original Avatar from 2009. I've asked there, can The Way of Water pass Titanic at the box office? I've put in the headline, I believe The Way of Water shows similar behaviours, yada yada yada. Well, I mean, I'm asking that question because it's not far off Titanic as things stand. It's 400 million shy, I believe, worldwide. Titanic's still the third all-time grossing movie ever. That didn't make sense, that wasn't even English what it says there, but you know what I mean, I hope. Titanic is still the third grossing movie of all time, highest grossing movie of all time. I am desperate to try to find my web capture scene. I am doing everything manually with a mouse and OBS, and it is painful. As you can see here, Avatar 2, I've got this sort of idea for a show, for a headline from Screen Rant, and they have put this lovely little bit of information in. Stephen M. Colbert, a man I am familiar with, I have plagiarised his works many times for topics on this show and predecessors of this show. I've got Box Office Mojo opened. I'm going to look at the data, and it's following key Avatar and Titanic box office behaviour. I'm going to get into a little bit of this, I'm not going to get bogged down too much. Needless to say, in short, I feel, and look, I am not even on the fucking screen at this moment. That's how, show you how often I do solo shows now. I just leave it on for Stephen. I'm on the screen now though. Some might say I almost look better, just a shoulder talking. Like the shoulders just talking. It's almost a better look. Avatar, The Way of Water. Maybe I should get a puppet who sit on my shoulder like Salacious B. Crumb in The Return of the Jedi. But yeah, man, as you can see here, box office earned more at the box office in its 4th and 5th weekends than almost every other top 10 following movie, following a key pattern from Titanic and the original Avatar's epic box office runs. Despite a relatively slow start, Avatar The Way of Water's box office keeps going and going, surpassing most expectations as it creeps its way up the ranks of the highest grossing movies all time at the global box office. And of course, Stephen's absolutely right in what he says in this article. Titanic and Avatar was a huge hit across the board, a massive opening, performed with remarkable legs throughout its entire stint. It's subsequently had 2 or 3 re-releases at the theatres, which has propped up its box office cum, hence why it is once again the all-time grossing movie ahead of Avengers Endgame. But yeah, if I recall correctly, it did have a really strong performance from its 4th weekend out, and that's really something that's a trademark of James Cameron's movies, certainly the ones in the upper echelons of the box office. So this is a great sign for The Way of Water. It didn't open as big as the original Avatar movie, but in fact I think it actually fell short of the projected opening weekend estimates. But it still opened remarkably high, and it's just been steadily growing and growing and growing, the box office cum. As you can see here, despite its low opening weekend, as I did say, Avatar, I mean that is in context, low opening weekend. Most filmmakers, most studios would give their left gonad for the kind of money that Avatar The Way of Water opened with, domestically, stateside. Most movies ain't getting anywhere near that. It's low for James Cameron, but my, is it making up for it, and some. The Way of Water's strong legs helped it begin to show separation from the rest of the pack in its 3rd week. Now, I've only been to see this movie last Friday, so I am perhaps one of the sort of perfect examples of this movie's legs, its longevity at the box office. You would have had people tripping over themselves to get into the theatres opening weekend to see this movie. I waited 5 weeks, nearly 4.5 weeks, to see this movie in the theatres. There is more people like me out there who will want to go and see this, who have perhaps been too busy, had other things going on in their lives, will finally make their way to the theatres to see this. I am encouraging everyone I know to go and watch this movie in the theatres. It has to be experienced on the biggest screen possible. I personally seen it on IMAX 3D, and it was wondrous. It was laser shot, I believe, is the name of the technology. It's the first one of its kind in the United Kingdom, and it had the sort of concurrent frame rate that he was using in this movie, 48 frames per second, 24 frames per second. It was just wondrous. What an experience to see it. I've seen the original Avatar in its glorious 3D goodiness. For me, on a technical level, this movie is surpassed the original. It's even better. What he did with the water sequences, the CG, is just simply mind-bending. And then just on a technical level, in terms of set design, production design, it's just a one-of-a-kind movie. And this is why this guy, I can't wish any ill will on James Cameron, even if I was of a mindset to do so, and I'm not. I'm a huge James Cameron fan, love all of his movies. But if I was some butthurt Marvel fanboy, and you look at the props behind me, you may think I am, and I wanted to see it flop because all I want is Marvel movies to dominate the box office, even I couldn't, if I was like that, wish ill will on a guy who goes out his way to wow the audience, plural, who go and see his movies. He just goes one step further than every other filmmaker on the planet when it comes to set design, the scale of it, just taking technological advancements, the innovation he brings to his filmmaking process. And he deserves this money. This is why this guy's a god in the box office, and we'll get into gods and just how much of a god he is at the box office. This guy could have 3 movies, and he will have 3 movies in the top 4 of the all-time grossing list. That is one man with his brain who's created that. Obviously the Titanic was a living, breathing thing that happened, and he adapted its tragic story to the silver screen. But nonetheless, this is one man coming up against trillion-dollar companies, and he's whooping their ass all over the fucking place. Got to tip my hat to him. That will be the last time I will swear in this show, incidentally. I am really trying to rein in the swearing that I am doing in front of this camera. It's too much. Even yesterday, I says during the show, I don't think I've swore that much. I went back and watched it. I swore a whole lot, to the point where I'm starting to question whether I could have Tourette's, because if I don't know I'm doing it, it's concerning. But, yeah, anyway, we'll get back into it. Outperformed the rest of the pack for the week, earning more day-to-day than any other movie in the top 10 before, earning $45.8 million in its 4th weekend, which is bigger than the 4th weekend for any other top 10 movie other than the original Avatar's $50.3 million. It's remarkable. The performances this man's movies seem to possess at the box office, they just seem to have legs that no other franchise, no other movie can get close to. Of course, Endgame being the one exception, but that was 12 years of storytelling. That was a culmination of the Infinity Saga. That was a different beast, and again, it's borderline trillion-dollar company in Disney, and all of the might financially that they possess, putting all of their collective, I don't know, hard work and willpower behind that movie. This is one man. I know he's working for a huge corporations, and it's a huge team of people creating these movies. It's not James Cameron running around filming people and making everything, but this is one man. And you really have to put that into context. It's so impressive. This Behaviour, he continues, Stephen Colbert, it's not that one, is following right in the steps of Avatar and Titanic, which also broke out in their 4th and 5th weekends. Now, it's following in the footsteps. I'm going to bring up the box office. I'm going to try to, as I try to look over my monitor, which is set way too high. I don't know why this has come up, but it has. This is the top lifetime grossings. This movie's broke out in its 4th weekend at the box office. It's shown remarkable legs, equivalent to Avatar and Titanic, both James Cameron movies. And as you can see, it's already sitting at number 7 in the all-time grossing list, behind No Way Home, which was huge. It's one of the biggest movies of last year, if not the biggest movie of last year. Massively successful Marvel release. Infinity War is literally what it is. We stand $150 million, $145 million ahead of Avatar, which has just broke out and had its best weekend performance in its 4th weekend. I think we can say for sure, looking at this list, that Avatar is going to surpass No Way Home 100%. It's literally $13 million behind. It's probably already past it as things stand. And then you go to Infinity War, and it's only $45 million away. Probably by the weekend it's by that. And that really just leaves The Force Awakens, and this movie's destined to hit well north of $2 million at the box office. It's just going to keep going There's no signs. I can't think of any competition anywhere near the level of Avatar that's going to beat it out at the box office and divert eyeballs away. This movie, I believe, will 100% pass Titanic at the box office. I don't know by how much. It may scrape past, but I believe Avatar, The Way of Water, will be the number 3 grossing movie of all time at the box office. And that will effectively mean that James Cameron has 3 of the 4 top grossing movies of all time in the box office. It is mind-bending. This guy is just a one-man box office machine. And I predicted this like a year ago, man. People were saying, does this movie have the interest in the wider populace? Can it wow people? Is Pandora, is the Na'vi, is this story something that's still relevant in pop culture? And I says at the time, never write off James Cameron. This man knows how to make movies. He knows how to wow audiences. He's a technological marvel when it comes to film. He will make this movie successful. It will make the money. And it has made the money. And I believe it will cross Titanic at the box office. If I get anything else, I think I may have another one here. Yeah, it's just the general performance. This is another thing that blew my mind. Being from the United Kingdom, we don't usually see performances like this. This is probably, and I've not looked at the numbers, I did this before I started the stream. This is probably well within the top 5 all-time grossing movies or something like that in the United Kingdom. It's remarkable numbers this movie has already, 5 weeks out in the United Kingdom. It's the same in Germany, it's the same in France, Italy, Spain, Netherlands, the whole of Europe. It's just making money everywhere, man. Everywhere. The United States, $500 million in the United States. It's mind-bending, the brilliance that James Cameron possesses when it comes to making movies. And there's the intro again. And just how he consistently seems to make money at the box office that no other filmmaker seems to be able to get anywhere near. Singular filmmaker seems to be anywhere near. I love the movie, man. I really did. Story-wise, it's not the most riveting, mentally arresting thing you're ever going to watch. It's a pretty simplistic story. Obviously, the family values, which were at the heart of the trailers, it's firmly there in the movie to see. He's doing some deep thematic stuff with humankind in this movie, where we are as a race, what we have forgotten, what we have lost, how we are obsessed with things that are perhaps not important anymore. We've lost society, the sort of the love of community, communicating with each other. We've lost that sort of thing that the Na'vi possess in this movie. I says that watching the trailer. These aliens are more human than the humans. That turned out to be the case in the movie. But where the story is maybe a little bit mediocre, it more than makes up for in visuals and in performances. I thought Sigourney Weaver is absolutely outstanding as a sort of teenage Na'vi, the offspring of. And even now, man, this will probably tell you where I'm at with Avatar. I've really enjoyed the movie, and I'm delighted it's doing real business at the box office. But I still don't actually know the names of the characters in this movie. And there's a colonel in there who plays the villain, played by Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang was extraordinary as the villain in that movie. But I still don't. Is it Jay? Is that what Sam Worthington's character's called? Doesn't matter. Visually, technically, this movie is a masterful sort of experience that must be watched on the biggest screen possible. Please go and watch it in an IMAX. Help this movie make money. It deserves to make money. I want to see the sequels coming out rapid. I want to see what he has envisaged for this whole experience. I want to see it getting wrapped up ASAP. And the only way to make sure that's going to happen is by earning enough money to make the money makers, the sort of bankrollers who greenlight these movies. It's not studios, it's actual financial organisations that give their money. They loan the money to the studios who then give it to the filmmakers. The only way to make it happen is to make this money at the box office for this movie. So please go and watch it, like me. Please support Jim and his desire to give us more Avatar movies, and just don't be expecting to see some Oscar winning screenplay, because it ain't there. It's a popcorn flick, unabashedly, and it's damn good. I'm going to move on to the next topic. This one, I don't know anything about this. I'm not even going to sit here and lie. This is not something that I'm aware of. I'm hoping I'm going to be educated in the actual article. I just like the vibe of it. I like the title. I did read the article briefly, and I think he does do. Ben Travis does educate me slightly on just what Jodorowsky's Dune within Marvel means. Ben Travis obviously acting as a conduit through the actual writer of the upcoming Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. He's been out speaking about the movie. He's been out detailing the quantum realm, its importance, significance for Michelle Pfeiffer's Janet Van Dyne in this movie. I was wowed by the article. Just where they're going with this movie really does fascinate me. For the Janet character, the fact she's almost lived an alternate life that her family in the real, very much not quantum realm, are aware of. It almost put me in mind of a Joe Rogan episode I watched recently where he was talking about transcendental drugs, or hallucinogenic drugs I should say, and how you can almost some people can have a bad trip and live like 6 months in another life in 5 minutes in a 5-10 minute trip, or they can go off and live a lifetime's worth of a sort of alternate reality, alternate life within like a half an hour trip, and then they come back and they've got a whole lifetime that has just happened. It put me in mind of that. That's the vibe I'm getting here from what this guy is detailing. For Janet Van Dyne, she had an alternate life in a completely different pocket universe, if you like. I'm butchering it. I'm trying to bring up the web capture. My God, I need Stream Deck back in my life. This is painful. It's coming in from Ben Travis via Empire. We have got an exclusive image, and my. Is this image wondrous? What are we getting here, man? What even was that if it came up on the screen there? I do not know. First of all, Michelle Pfeiffer, this woman, ageing remarkably well. Looks magnificent. And just the backdrop is stunning, man. The colour palette is just there. The costume design is there. Her hair is immaculate. I'm all in for this movie, man. I spoke about Ant-Man before. I spoke about Paul Rudd before. I love both. Scott Lang has been the butt of the jokes in the MCU for the last 6-7 years. The worst performing sub-franchise in the MCU in terms of box office cum. It just seems to be this, it gets flung the scraps, almost like a trampish dog on the streets of some, I don't know, ghetto. Getting flung scraps. That's what Scott Lang and Ant-Man sort of exemplifies in the greater MCU, where you have the likes of Iron Man doing his thing once upon a time, Captain America, all these other weird, wondrous Titanic characters from the comics. Ant-Man was a laughingstock. So I'm so glad to see that he is getting a movie which has real meaning, which is acting as, I'm going to use this word again, and I don't like it, but I'm going to use it, as a conduit for Kang the Conqueror to come into the cinematic universe, the big bad of this saga, if you'd like. He has been given something meaty. I think Paul's a brilliant actor. I think Michael Douglas, Evangeline Lilly, Michelle Pfeiffer, the ensemble are there. And just based off that trailer, the visuals are most certainly there. One of the most stunning looking MCU movies I've seen in quite a while, and that's perhaps not a high bar when you think of what's came in Phase 4, where the CG has been decidedly dodgy at times, and that's me trying to just use big fancy words. Decidedly is not fancy, it's not big, but it's more fancy than just resorting to effing. I says I wasn't going to swear again in this stream, and I am doing my best to make that so. Number 1, Star Trek. I apologise. I'll move on. You've got the writer here. It holds some secrets, the quantum realm. I'm going to go to the writer's quotes. It's all over the place. It may be Marvel boss Kevin Feige first, but it certainly is the writer who is speaking about it as well, and I'm going to get to that. This is, I presume this is Kevin Feige saying this. She does have, and I presume he's talking about, I don't know who he's talking about, Janet Van Dyne, that's who he's talking about. She does have a very rich history with Kang and unresolved issues. I love that. She has this interaction with Kang. We got that in the trailer. She was reluctant to let the cat out the bag about what was residing in this quantum realm, and ultimately she's obviously going to have to let the cat out the bag because they're going to face him at some point in the movie. He's the villain of the movie. The quantum realm can change a person, and you can have a whole other life down there. I just love that vibe, man. I love that one sentence there. It's magnificent to me. As I says, puts me in mind of a Rogan-esque trip on some magic mushroom where you are whisked off to an alternate life which feels like it's lasting 6 months, but it's only 10 minutes. That is such... Just that one sentence captures my imagination. The fact that Janet has been down here, lost in the quantum realm, and she's living this alternate life as a sort of freedom-fighting rebel. We'll get into it though. Well, Kevin will, and I'll read it. It's something that she hasn't wanted to get into. It's about these 5 family members, how these 5 family members deal with this environment, and the new reality of what their mother/grandmother has been through. And that's a very, very well-known, very powerful freedom fighter in the quantum realm, which none of them had any idea about until they get down there. The secrets of the quantum realm are about to be spilled. Look at this poster, man. Just look at the colours. There's something about purple. There's something about the sort of cyans, the pinkish magentas, that just lend themselves so beautifully to a movie poster. I think of the likes of Ragnarok and Infinity War, I want to say, or Endgame it may have been. There's something about that colour palette that just works. That's a wondrous cover from Empire. It really is. It's something special. I thought it was a writer that was out talking. I'm pretty sure this says. And they did, didn't they? Jeff Loveness. So where's Jeff's quotes? Because Jeff's comparing it to Jodorowsky's Dune. And I want educated. What the f is Jodorowsky's Dune? Stop myself before I swear there. I swore. Swear isn't a word. I says it was going to be a disaster this stream, and it's not let me down. Is this Loveness's comments here? I believe it is, so I'm going to read them. He said this is a fun place. Full on cosmic psychedelia. What a piece of English that is being presented there. Full on cosmic psychedelia. Love that, man, love that as well. Really looking forward to getting whisked into full on cosmic psychedelia on an IMAX screen. Just serve it to me right now, man. I'm there for it. This is what Jeff Loveness had to say. What a name, incidentally. It's a limitless place of creation and diversity and alien life. A touch point sure to make fans out there eyeball sizzlingly sci-fi happy. What is this? Can I read this again? A touch point sure to make fans of out there eyeball sizzling sci-fi happy. That's a tongue twister, but I got through it. It's Jodorowsky's Dune within Marvel. He says, referencing the cult director's legendary So Ambitious It was an unfilmable attempt to adapt Frank Herbert's masterwork. So this is the Dune movie from the 80s that Steven's seen, that I have not seen. So that's who Jodorowsky is. So he's saying it's his Dune within Marvel. It's an almost unfilmable concept being presented. Well, I mean, you would say that, but if there's one franchise, realistically, it's going to be able to present an unfilmable concept and actually film it and make it happen, it is going to be the MCU. Because if you think of Endgame, last 20 minutes of that movie should be completely unfilmable. It shouldn't be possible to present to a wider audience what they did in that movie. There was so many bodies, so much nonsense going on, and they made it work. For me, it's still, in terms of an action experience, one of the greatest 25-30 minutes I've ever seen in a theatre. Endgame. So if there's any franchise, any film franchise, I should state, because there is multiple other arts where franchises pop out, video games, novels potentially. You call a novel a franchise? Probably not. Yeah, it's one. I mean, if there's any one film franchise or sort of studio going to make it happen, it's going to be Marvel or Disney. I'm really looking forward to this movie, man. I'm looking forward to exploring the quantum realm. I'm looking forward to seeing Scott Lang being projected into the limelight in the MCU. This is a guy who was the butt of the jokes without repeating myself. Really looking forward to seeing Jonathan Majors coming in as Kang the Conqueror. As a villain, he looks really, really cool. I love this sort of variant vibe, where you have various different versions of this guy popping in and out of different projects. The fact this is a warrior version, he looks deeply manipulative in the trailers. It looks as though he's going to town on Scott, trying to work him. Almost like Loki in the early days of the MCU, trying to work away at different individuals, trying to work away at the softer side of his brother Thor. Whether he's successful or not will ultimately remain to be seen. I don't think he will be, because as we've seen in that trailer, Scott actually does say at one point, I don't have to win, I just don't, neither of us have to lose, or something. I don't have to lose. I can't remember what the actual quote was, but he said a lovely quote. I don't have to win, neither of us just... I can't remember, I'm butchering it. It was a great quote though. I don't think he's going to buy into Kang's shit. Really looking forward to seeing Scott Lang in this movie, man. Seeing where this trilogy takes us, because it starts off from humble beginnings, a man coming out of jail, wanting to see his daughter, being wished off into sort of unwanted superhero experiences, a reluctance there, and then obviously he's taken away for years, and we're exploring that dynamic with his daughter in this movie as well, just where we're going to go, how it's going to rank in terms of the other trilogies in the MCU. Really, really looking forward to it. You throw in the whole Janet Van Dyne alternate reality life down in the quantum realm as a freedom fighter thing, her interactions with Kang off screen, how that's going to play into this movie, and it's just really exciting times, man. This is the start of Phase 5, and I sincerely hope Phase 5 of the MCU is better than Phase 4, because Phase 4 is slightly underwhelming for me. Moving on to the next topics, music. I'm just following in the same footsteps as what Stephen kind of creates, what he curates, if you like, for these shows. Now, it's entertainment news, so it tends to follow a whole, mismatch, sort of melting pot of different things we can talk about. I mean, I presume we can fling books in here as well, if that catches my fancy. I'm talking about music. I searched up music news, man. I went onto NME, picked out the first thing that I liked, and I'm here to talk about it. Huge fan of Noel Gallagher, huge fan of Liam Gallagher, huge fan of Bonehead, huge fan of Oasis. Have to stress, of the Britpop era, not my favourite band. I still prefer Blur, because, as I've said many times before, I don't know if on this channel, but I have said many times before, Oasis are almost like the Rolling Stones of the 90s. They're great, but they're very samey. The Stones were a great blues band. They ripped off the sort of brilliant bluesy things from the African American community from years gone past, the bygone eras. They made them their own. They maintained that kind of style. When Brian Jones died, the Stones remained the same. He was the sort of creative influence, the brilliance behind the band. Whereas the Beatles, for me, are more like Blur. Blur are the 90s equivalent of the Beatles. They're not as good as the Beatles, but they were constantly changing their sound, constantly evolving as a band. Radiohead, perhaps the same, constantly evolving as a band. But I still love Oasis, man. Some of the greatest music to come out in the last 30 years has been spawned out of that little man there's head, Noel Gallagher. And I'm going to bring Noel up. And yeah, he's been out speaking. This has been a sort of on-off, will it, won't it happen thing for the last 15 years, I want to say. They split up in 2008. One fateful day, I think, behind the scenes, maybe even in Paris or something like that, before a show. I think Liam threw his guitar at him, broke his vintage Gibson ES 335, I think it was, guitar. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Noel walked out, never to be seen again, created his High Flying Birds band. Liam created BDI, he's now got a wildly successful soul career going on, selling out Nebworth for 2 nights. They've often been hugely successful in their own ways. They've had trials and tribulations. I'd say Noel less so. Noel's definitely the more talented, creatively brilliant guy out of that partnership. But Liam, you can never do down Liam's incredible charisma, his way for words, his profanity-laden rants, and his brilliant frontman ability. But yeah, man, it's been a will it won't it happen for the last 13 years or 15 years, I think it is now, which is crazy. Noel's been adamant for the vast majority of that time that it ain't going to happen. He will not, for any money on this planet, reunite with his brother to do Oasis gigs ever again, or projects. Liam, on the other hand, has been pushing at it, nagging, in the strangest way possible, by attacking his brother on social media, going after his wife. That's how he feels he's going to twist his brother's thumb, finger, little head, whatever you want to use, what adjective you want to use, into joining the band again. But as you can see here, Noel's been out, and he says, sort of paraphrasing, never say never, to an Oasis reunion. Hopefully there is. That was a borderline slurring, that was a borderline stroke event there. Never say never to an Oasis reunion. There you go, I said it better that time. And yeah, man, as you can see here, former Oasis guitarist and co-vocalist who today announced his forthcoming album with the High Flying Birds, Council Skies, quit the band in 2009. It's 14 years, I was 1 year out, son of a bitch. Saying that he simply could not go on working with brother Liam Gallagher. And he went on to say, you should never say never. This is the latest update. This was as of today, January 17th. I was talking to BBC Radio Manchester. And he had that to say, you should never say never. But he added it would take an extraordinary set of circumstances to make it happen. That's not to say that those circumstances would never come about. For me, someone who's been a huge fan of Oasis for most of my life, but realistically was just a little bit too young to see them in their heyday, and for whatever reason never really had any desire to go and see them when I was in my teens, and probably could have. I have never seen Oasis. Never seen them live. I'd love to see them live. I should have went and seen Liam at Hampden Park last summer, but I never, because I'm a lazy son of a bitch. That's the second time I've used that, and it's strange. That's a really X-Files American style insult. I feel like I'm almost taking on these douchebag and docks and jerks to mask my real desire to swear, but my reluctance to do so. I'm just going to keep using these American things. Goddamn jerk. Things like that. Yeah, I mean, lazy. So I never got to see this band. So for me, I would love to see Oasis reuniting. I'd love to see them just setting their differences aside, not just for the band, not just for the potential amazing gigs we could get after it. It doesn't have to be something that continues long term. It could be like a 1 year venture where they get back, do a world tour, and then they bugger off, get it out of their system, scratch that itch. But for the mother by all accounts, a good Irish stock woman, proper old school brilliant woman who just loves her sons and wants them to get back on talking terms. I would love to see them reunite, be on speaking terms for her and for the family in general. I just keep getting shown these. They're trying to sell me these sort of Air Jordans or Dunks. I think they're actually Dunks. I mean, I do like the purple ones, but look, that's us getting sidetracked again. That's me getting sidetracked. I will buy. I really like them as well, incidentally. But yeah, that's not Oasis. That's a completely different thing. What is your favourite Taylor Swift album? I don't have one. There you go. I don't know any Taylor Swift albums. Not my kind of music. Again, getting sidetracked. Yeah, I mean, look, there's not a huge amount to go on there. It was just a little throwaway topic I was putting in there to sort of scratch the musical side of the entertainment news that we cover multiple days a week now. I would love to see it happen, man. It does seem to be a slight change in the mood music for Noel has been very adamant for much of that time. It's never happening, won't do it. He does say it would take extraordinary circumstances, but never say never. That's a change in mood music. That's almost like Lloyd Christmas now, or Harry. Is it Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber? Saying, so you're saying it's a chance. There is a chance here. There is a chance we could get these guys back together. And we've got to just grasp onto that with both hands and pray to whatever God you worship that it happens, because I want to see them. I am going to move on though to the final topic. It's a little bit of gaming news to round things up. My, I really do look like Jeffrey Dahmer with these glasses. I really do. The blue, anti-blue light, which is needed because I am currently getting destroyed by an almighty ring light to my right here, which would probably have wowed and dazzled Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong when they were walking on the moon. That is emitting incredible blue light into my retinas, and it bleaches them. Believe me, I can see it for like 25 minutes to half an hour afterwards. So I'm wearing these Dahmer glasses. But yeah, not cheap. Good Swedish company. Very, very good quality. But anyway, I digress, that doesn't matter. Hogwarts Legacy, that's the final topic. Hogwarts Legacy is already the #1 best-selling game on Steam, on PS5, the PlayStation Store, I believe, and #2 best-selling game on the Xbox Store or Microsoft Store, whatever you want to call it. It's doing great business. It's about just under a month out from its release. This is just pre-orders alone. It's looking good, man. Things are looking up for Avalanche Studios, I believe it is, for this sort of RPG, open world RPG Harry Potter game. It's not a Harry Potter game, it's Hogwarts. Harry Potter, not even a twinkle in his great-grandmother's eyes at this stage. This is set 100 years before Harry Potter, which if you're a Harry Potter fan you will know was set in the 1990s. This is set in the 1890s. And yes, I am very much looking forward to this game. This is my #1 most anticipated video game release of 2023. This is going to reignite the inner child within my, at that point it'll be 34-year-old mind, currently 33, and I'm cherishing the last sort of 20 odd days of being 33. Fucking hell, I wish I was 23. So yeah, that's a slightly depressing turn of events there. Me mentioning my birthday coming up, me mentioning, the 34 number. We don't want to think of that. We're just going to go to a happy place, which is Hogwarts. And I'm going to look forward to playing this, man. This is the game that I wanted as a kid growing up. I had all the games. I think I had at least 3-4 of the Harry Potter games as the sort of franchise progressed. But I've got a firm sort of appreciation and sort of nostalgia-ridden appreciation, if you like, for the Chamber of Secrets. I believe it was a video game which was open world. You could go around and explore Hogwarts. This is something I think that every person of around about my age who's a fan of Harry Potter has been desiring for a long, long time. Of course, you have got certain individuals on social media who are not wanting the game. They are actually trying to create a boycott. There's a backlash against this specific video game for the obvious reasons. J.K. Rowling, the sort of brainchild behind Harry Potter, the novels, the sort of stories of Harry Potter, not this video game, made some interesting remarks about this whole sort of trans community thing and the trans question, if you like, discussion. I don't know what adjective to use. She's made remarks about the trans stuff. She's very pro women rights, and this has rubbed up that community something awful. It's rubbed up all the actors who performed in Harry Potter something awful. And look, I get it, man. I get it. If anybody's going to be sort of anti-trans and anti sort of anti-woke, anti your Piers Morgan types, a firm advocate for difference in society, for being non-binary or all of this stuff that you want to discuss, and I'm not an expert in this by any means. If there's anybody going to champion that sort of stuff, it should be J.K. Rowling. She literally wrote a novel. I'm trying to create a word here and it doesn't exist. A novel, a book series, that's what I'll use. I'll use the word book. This is the end, and it's good at the end. I'm starting off a cliff here. She literally wrote a series of books about someone being different, about individuals being different, being outcast from society. If she can't stand behind that, then I understand why people are getting upset and getting angry, but they're channeling it in the wrong way. It's a video game. There's developers spent years on this, creating this, and it looks absolutely stunning. Give it a chance, man. JK's not involved in this. It's not her project. But I digress, I've been sidetracked. Number 1. Already the number 1 selling game on Steam and PS5, number 2 on Xbox, as you can see here. It's a few weeks away, the pre-sales are in. I have not pre-ordered it yet, but I am going to be pre-ordering the deluxe edition. I cannot wait. I think you get 72 hours early access. I will be there, believe me. We're looking forward to it. There's a lot of information dropped on this game. Incidentally, we've got sort of releases like this. Someone got their hands on an art book for this video game, and you can see sort of concept art. And as an artist myself, I am a bit of an artist. Not a bit of an artist. I'm an artist. I can draw very, 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 very well. I can paint very well. I turned my hand to digital painting now, but I can paint. This is remarkable, man. I love to see this incredible sort of conceptual work getting done here. Also, it's not something that's going to be pertinent to the actual video game, because there's going to be elements of this storyboard and concept art that didn't make it in to the game. But it's just very interesting to see all this stuff starting to be leaked. And obviously, as a sort of byproduct of this book leak, we have got information which may or may not be out of date at this point, but they're suggesting 35 hours long, this game, which would be a little bit disappointing. That's the main storyline. I think obviously if you do side things and stuff like that, they're saying upwards of 70 hours. That's still a bit short for a game of this ilk. Open world RPG. I'm thinking of the likes of Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Oblivion, even your sort of, trying to think off the top of my head, open world RPGs, Borderlands, Legend of Zelda. These are all 100 plus hour games. So that would be slightly disappointing, the 35 hour mark for the main story, 70 hours for the side stories. But look, let's be honest, anyone buying this game is going to be wished off into the world of Hogwarts. They're going to be exploring like men and women possessed, boys and girls possessed as well, of that demographic. And it's just going to be really, really interesting to see how this plays off, man. I have looked into the actual game developers. They've not really took anything of this scale on in their history of creating video games. We've had the likes of Toy Story 3. I think they've done, off the top of my head, Rugrats video games. And some Avengers Marvel thing where you put figurine in and it, I don't know, man, I don't know anything about it. They have not really tackled a game of this complexity, a game of this ambition throughout their entire existence as a games developer, which is over, I think, 2 decades, or at least a decade. It's not something they've touched, so it's going to be so interesting to see if they can pull it off. Certainly from the gameplay videos and the trailers I've seen, it looks like a really faithfully reimagined or faithfully created, that's the word I'll use, version of Hogwarts. The world looks absolutely massive, it's sprawling, highly detailed, it changes depending on the seasons. The video acting's on point, or the voice acting's on point. Simon Pegg's in there doing, I think he's playing the actual headmaster. So they've got all the right pieces in play here. It's just whether they can stick the landing and deliver a really top tier game, because this is something, without repeating myself, that people have been wanting for years and years and years. So it's no surprise to me that it's at the top of the rankings in terms of pre-sales. It's already the number 1 selling game. There is a buzz surrounding Harry Potter, the IP, that remains long after it is done as a sort of movie franchise. I know we've got Fantastic Beasts out just now, but it's not Harry Potter, is it? Let's be honest. Harry Potter ended in 2011, I want to say 2011. There is still a real interest in this IP, in this world. Why am I getting this? I don't know. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to bring that up. I've kind of did that to the death. That it has leaked. We've got leaks and shit like that going on. But yeah, I mean, there's a real interest in this world, and this castle, and this sort of location, and the magical aspects of Harry Potter. And I think, look, I've watched another major channel on here speaking about it. I say major, another as if we're not a major channel. I have to stress, we are a fucking shit stain. That's the second time I've swore, and it will definitely be the last. We are, as I said yesterday, I believe, a skid mark in the grand scheme of things in terms of channels. 18,000 subs, nothing. But I appreciate every single one of you who have subbed. But I seen a major channel discussing this, I think last week, and what the ramifications could be of the success of this video game. Could it spark a desire within Warner Brothers, a desire within J.K. Rowling? There's a dirty name again. I'm not getting into that again. I touched upon it and butchered it. Could it spark a desire to create a spin-off, another spin-off franchise set 100 years in the past, maybe even further afield, charting the history of Hogwarts, all the famous sort of attendees, famous teachers? Could it spark an interest within that studio, within the creator herself, to deliver that? Is there enough goodwill in the larger movie-going audience? Is the whole anti-trans thing toxic enough to stop that happening? Is that going to eat into the actual box office profits? I've not actually looked at Fantastic Beasts and how it's performing in terms of box office. I don't think it is, personally. I think there's still an interest. You can see it in the way the game's actually charting just now. This is a video game. Video games are bigger than movies just now in terms of an industry, certainly in the United Kingdom. $4+ billion as an industry. There is money to be made. That is a real barometer for interest in franchises, in IP. There is clearly still a fervent love for Harry Potter. This could spin. If this video game is successful, the story's there, this could act as a sort of conduit, there it is again, for another franchise starring Hogwarts as a character. Because I'm one of those guys that says that characters aren't just human. They don't have to be human. They don't have to be a house elf. They don't have to be, I don't know, a hat, a conscious, fully aware hat. Locations can be characters. Alderaan was a location before it bit the bullet. Tatooine is a location in Star Wars. Bespin, the Cloud City, a location. It doesn't make sense. A character, that's what I meant to say. Of course a location's a character, is what I meant to say. Locations can be characters, and in Hogwarts, obviously, more so than most. There was a lot of people felt that Harry Potter lost something palpable as a franchise when they stepped out of the confines of Hogwarts in the Deathly Hallows, and I got that in the book as well. For me, it was intrinsically linked to this school of magic, and when you stepped away it seemed to lose something. It was like the innocence of youth disappearing. You have to become an adult, and that's shit. I agree with John Cleese. I'm going to end on this. I agree with John Cleese. The key to happiness and success in life is to maintain that youth eternal. Never lose the inner child. The inner child is full of wonder. The inner child is the one that's searching the stars for, advancement, for, I don't know, something different. I'm tripping. Never lose the inner child. I will never lose it. I will be entering my inner child again when I play this video game, man. I will be back being a 10-year-old again, a 11-year-old again when I enter this world. Looking forward to it, but I'm done. What is your thoughts on the topics I have touched upon on this show tonight? What do you make about Avatar, The Way of Water, its box office performance? It's showing the same behavioural sort of legginess of Avatar and Titanic before it, opening up in weekend number 4 in terms of performance. Can this movie go on to gross over 2 billion? Of course it can, but what's your thoughts on it? Can it surpass Titanic as the number 3 all-time grossing movie in the box office? What's your thoughts on Avatar, Way of Water? Have you seen it? Hello, Mike. I'm just about to go, Mike. That's bad timing. But look, you're the first person to comment, so I'll take it. Thank you very much, Mike, for commenting. Have you seen Avatar, The Way of Water, Mike? What was your thoughts on it? I seen it in IMAX just Friday there. I loved it. Wanting this movie to make money at the box office. I enjoyed it as well, man. What did you think of the story, though? Did you think the story was a little bit underwhelming? I thought it was a technical experience, a visual extravaganza. It was second to none. James Cameron all over. Even now there's elements of that movie I don't know how he made it. I genuinely don't know how he did it. Practical and CG intermingling on a level never seen before. Never seen before. I really enjoyed the performances as well, but in terms of the story, I just felt the story was a little bit... but that's something that seems to be a recurring theme with Avatar. First one was a Ferngully remake. It was a good Ferngully remake, but it was a Ferngully remake. But visually, that's what it was all about. Getting in a theatre and seeing it with those 3D glasses, man. What an experience. This man should just be in charge of all 3D movies. What's your thoughts on the performance? So, do you think it can overtake Titanic? I certainly do. I think it will be the number 3 all-time grossing movie at the box office. What is your thoughts on the other topic I touched upon? Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. This concept that Janet Van Dyne is a woman out of time. She has lived an alternate life as a freedom fighter in the quantum realm. She's had previous interactions with Kang the Conqueror. Does that excite you? Are you excited for Kang coming? Are you excited for Ant-Man? I am. Now I know there's an IMAX with all the laser shenanigans available where you can pre-book your seats and it's not a free-for-all and you end up with neck-breaking seats. I will be at that screen watching Ant-Man. I will be at every single movie that drops now watching it on that screen. That screen is extraordinary. Extraordinary. Looking forward to it. What's your thoughts on Ant-Man? What do you make about Noel Gallagher coming out and speaking about Oasis? A potential return. He's opening the door. He's not opening it fully, but he's left it ajar. It's not slammed shut like it usually is. He says, never say never. It will take extraordinary circumstances, but he is saying, maybe, just maybe, we could have the brothers back together. We could have Live Forever, we could have Champagne Supernova, we could have Supersonic, Rock and Roll Star. The full shebang, little by little. What's your thoughts on it? Comment down below. Finally, Hogwarts Legacy. Are you boycotting it? Have you pre-booked it? Pre-bought it? I'm about to pre-buy it. I'm about to pre-order it. That's the word I'm looking for. That's been happening a lot. I've been losing words tonight. I've been saying the wrong words. Oh dear, what's that, a sign off? I'll tell you what it's a sign off. A lack of hydration. The juice of life, water, fuel for the body. I need to drink more of it. Have you pre-ordered it? Are you boycotting it? What's your thoughts on Hogwarts Legacy, man? I am looking forward to it tremendously. Personally, I'm about to pre-order the deluxe edition. Share your thoughts down below about that, about anything you feel compelled to share. Down below in the comment section is the place to put those thoughts. I'm looking forward to Quantumania as well, man. I love Scotland. I love Paul Rudd. I've been a huge fan of Paul since Friends, man. Since he was in Friends. I mean, that's fucking 20 odd years. That's the third swear word. I says I wasn't going to swear again. It's been 3 this time, though. 3 or 4. Not been as much as last night. That was a real eye-opener. It was like, you really must stop this swearing. You're coming across as uneducated. It's not a good look. Stop it. And I have. Kinda. Looking forward to it, man. Love Scott, love Paul Rudd. Really love Jonathan Majors. Looking forward to this movie coming out. Cannot wait. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Hit the notifications bell to get notifications straight to your eyeball. The bell icon was what I was trying to say. That will enable you to see more content like this. More gibbering, more nonsense, more tangents. More getting drawn into adverts. Can you tell I have just been controlled by sort of Western culture? By the malevolence that is Google ads and all of the other stuff. They're tracking your whereabouts and they're presenting you things that you want. I was about to order a pair of purple and white Nike Air Dunks just because it popped up on a website. I am done. I am part of the Matrix. I ain't escaping. I'm like Cypher, I think his name was. I'll be eating the steak. Screw any awakenings. I'm going down with the ship. Yeah, share your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon. Do the same thing over on Twitch. Notifications button. Follow button over there. All that's left to say is thank you for watching. I'm going to butcher this ending because I have no stream deck. There is nothing happening. It's all manual. And until the next time, I'm done. Bye bye. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Oasis potentially coming back. I don't know if that will happen, Mike. They may be very old men. It may be like a sort of geriatric care home tour where they're coming out in Zimmer frames and someone's having to like massage their hands to get the feeling back so they can play the guitar and shake the tambourine. But yeah, I'm there for it if it happens. Thanks for commenting, Mike.